Hey, how's it going, everybody? Okay, I just almost missed some roadkill. Actually, I did miss it. What a great way to start off. This is a beautiful Thursday morning, and I decided I want to talk about some movies. Because I watched a really, really good one yesterday. Can't believe how good it was. This movie was actually made last year, but it was only released August of this year. And the weird thing is, it actually came out, it's an Australian movie, written and directed by the writer-director of The Babadook. If you've seen that, I've seen part of it. I haven't seen all of it. It's quite good. Jennifer Kent is her name, and it stars Aisling Francoisi as Claire, a young Irish ex-convict woman, as she embarks on a revenge quest against Sam Claflin, who you will remember from Hunger Games Catching Fire as Finnick Odair. He's a really good-looking guy. He is amazing in this movie. All the actors are amazing in this movie. This is just an amazing movie, without a doubt. I thought Ford v Ferrari was an amazing movie, and it really is. That, this movie being great does not in any way take away from how great Ford v Ferrari is. They're two separate things. But my goodness, I was blown away by this movie. I had been hearing really good things about this, but I did not expect this movie to be as good as it was. It was hard to watch, and I haven't seen Schindler's List, although I've seen parts of Schindler's List, but I haven't seen all of Schindler's List, and I've heard that that's a really hard to watch movie as well. There's a lot of really good movies that are hard to watch, like Slumdog Millionaire. It's hard to watch, but it's also a great movie. It's just, they're hard to watch because of how real they are. There's parts of Joker that are hard to watch. It's how realistic and how real they are. This movie, I don't think there's much here to suspend your disbelief, other than the kind of nightmares that this person, that our main character Claire has. But even those, they're probably the most realistic nightmares that I've seen in a movie ever. In terms of dream sequences and nightmares, they're so realistic. They feel like, all right, this is what it would be like to have that kind of a nightmare, to have that kind of a dream. It is exactly how it, and when you have this sort of rage and wanton violence against another person, another human being, and then obviously I think very few people who are probably watching this video or listening to this will know what it's like to exact that revenge upon someone, to actually get what you feel is due, your rightly vengeance against that person. So it can be extremely cathartic, but I think this movie, it shows the harsh reality of that catharsis, in that in the moment it's cathartic, but immediately after it's extremely horrifying. And this movie, bringing light to that, I think that was just brilliant. It was really well done. The cinematography is beautiful. It's shot on location in Tasmania, and for being something the production design and everything is amazing. It feels like it's set in 1825. Another movie that came out this year was set in the 1800s. Also was really well done, The Lighthouse. Same goes for this one. Wow, just wow. The shots of the Australian wilderness, Tasmanian wilderness, the bush, amazing. Just really beautiful vistas, and just amazing cinematography. And I don't think it's 4:3 aspect ratio. because it wasn't as boxy as like The Lighthouse was. But I do think it's a little bit shorter and a little bit smaller, maybe 5:3 or something like that. It's not your traditional widescreen. At least the thing that I watched was not. I don't know how it will be. It's available on demand to watch. Basically, this movie came out, I think, in very limited release in August, end of August 29th. And actually, wait, no, it came out like at the beginning of August. It actually released in worldwide, like United States, on August 2nd, but then weirdly enough, it came out like at the end of August 29th in Australia, which is like weird because that's where like the director's from, and that's where like the movie was pretty much shot and made. So I just find that kind of odd. Yeah, there's the score is great. There's a lot of like really great songs that she sings in this movie, and like her and the other main character, this Aboriginal man named Billy. It really highlights this racism of how it was back then when the British colonists took over. They hated their Irish peasant convicts that they had in their penal colonies, and they also just like were extremely brutal to the Aboriginal natives of Tasmania and Australia. And this really, like, I hadn't learned much about that at all. So for this movie to open my eyes to that was great. I learned a lot from just the way that they carried themselves, how they treated these people. It was really horrifying. And what's even more horrifying is like how little they cared about the way they treated them. Yeah, this movie is really great on so many levels. So it's a must-watch. It's a definite must-watch. Filmmaking here, it's god-tier filmmaking on Showcase here. It's also, for a movie set in 1825, I have to say a lot of period pieces, for me at least, have just been, like, a lot of period pieces just suffer from this, like, inherent slowness. Like, they're just slow. Like, some different, like, other ones that aren't slow, like The Favorite. The Favorite, I thought, was, like, extremely interestingly helmed. The direction was really interesting, and the shot choice was engaging. It kept me engaged with the story. But I feel like most other movies that I've seen from that time period have just not kept me interested. They just, like, it feels like a Netflix Daredevil show or a Netflix Marvel show where each scene or each take is like 5 to 10 seconds way longer than it needs to be. And it just makes the entire runtime drag. But that's not the case with this movie. Like, straight up, this is one of the most engaging, gripping thrillers set in 1825. Like, this is a drama, this is a revenge thriller set in 1825. And I think that's awesome. Like, it's a realistic, gritty revenge thriller set in Tasmania, 1825. And I freaking loved it. Alright? I can't praise this movie enough. It's one of the best movies I've seen this year. It's probably the best movie I've seen this year. I still have to see Knives Out, and we'll see how Star Wars is. I have to see Knives Out, Star Wars, Jojo Rabbit. Those are the next two, like, really must-watches that I've been hearing really good things about that I really want to watch. And also, I want to watch Waves. Waves, the movie by It Comes at Night director Trey Edward Schultz. It Comes at Night was probably the one movie that I had such a terrible experience with that it made me actually want to start talking about movies and giving other people reviews so that they didn't walk into a movie blind like that. But I strongly suggest walking into this movie blind. Just completely don't heed my advice that I just said. Yeah, go into this movie blind, but also know that it is hard to watch at times, and it's totally okay to look away. All right, it's totally okay to look away. There's a lot of horrifying things that happen. It's not the most violent or bloody, but the way that it handles its violence is extremely realistic, so that can make it hard to watch, even if it isn't that bloody. It's like Joker. There's like some scenes in that movie that are kind of hard to watch. Is it all that violent or bloody? No, not really, but it doesn't make it any less hard to watch. The Nightingale, like, amazing movie. Truly just a surprise. You can rent it for like $2 or $3 on Amazon Prime, or I don't know. You can rent it on iTunes, Google Play, whatever you use. I definitely think it's worth it. Like, what, $2 or $3 for the 48-hour rental period? Obviously, you can't go see this in theaters, but man, it is definitely worth that price. And I mean, if you're not willing to pay for it, like, do whatever you want to do. You know, I'm not gonna say torrent a movie or watch it online somewhere, but those options are always available to those who want to partake. This is a really great movie, one of the best you'll see all year, and I think it's a really good movie that you should watch, because it's something that's really different, and it's something that is really different and good, and you need to support more movies like that. You can't just keep going to see your studio movies. It's not the best way to support original filmmakers' work. So yeah, The Nightingale, it's a really great movie. I loved it. You guys should go see it. Just rent it on whatever platform you like to watch your movies on. I definitely think it's worth your time, and it's a lot cheaper than driving to a movie theater and paying for a ticket, admission price. They're usually $9 or $10, for a single ticket. So if you're planning on seeing a really good movie, this is definitely one that should be on your list, because it's one of the best ones to come out this year. And really hope more people check this out, because it barely made $500,000 in its box office, because it's, limited release, small movie, but really, really well done. So I think you'll get something really meaningful out of this viewing experience. So I highly recommend The Nightingale. But that's it. Hope you guys like this review. I kind of want to put this into a video with some footage, just to see how that turns out. I could, do both. But I really do think that this Nightingale movie is probably the most underrated movie to come out this year. And it's like the most underrated masterpiece of 2019. Definitely check it out. Let me know what you think if you ever respond to any of these. I'd like to know all your thoughts on what you thought this movie did great. Maybe, if anything, you didn't like about this movie. I really didn't find much to dislike about this movie. It's just, it's brutal, and it's just, like, it's beautiful, too. It's, like how they say, some of the most damaged and some of the most horrific things can lead to some of the most beautiful things. I think that's this movie. It's horrific at times, but it's also strikingly beautiful at times too. But yeah, great movie. I had a great time with it. Definitely recommend.